So I made a little oopsie. I didn't have this 5% Cinebloom at the time that I made the 10 versus 20% comparison. I don't think Moment launched it initially with the 10 and 20%, and I've since picked one up. So this video is a quick follow-up, basically an additional chapter to that existing video. Putting it on now, the 5% is subtle, and I think it's the ultimate choice for those who don't want to bake too much of the bloom look into their work. If we bring this little Quasar Q5 in as a bright practical, you can really start to see the difference between the 5 and the 10%. The magnitude of the bloom isn't terribly different, but the bloom around the immediate light source is going to be more defined, and your shadows and blacks might be lifted a bit more. There's just a little bit less gradual fall off in this area here. All in all, these two versions aren't crazy different. Take out the practical, for example, and I don't look too different in these two shots. Now, when you introduce the 20%, that's when you're no doubt getting some of that distinct Cinebloom look with or without light sources in your shot. This starts to considerably lift shadows, for example, in my shirt. You bring the Q5 back in, and you start to see some crazy blooming around the light source. My recommendation is pretty much the same as last time, even after trying the 5% for a few months. I think the 10 is the great starting point if you want to achieve this look. The 20 is something that's available to you if you want to go all in. The 5% is more of a leave on your lens the entire time if you just want a subtle Cinebloom look baked into everything that you're doing, without going too stylistic or overboard. Now, if I'm shooting pretty wide open at 24 frames per second, or I'm firing off photos at f1.4 on a sunny day, then I might tend to reach for something like the Polar Pro Mist VND. That way I can better control exposure. If you're wondering how the Polar Pro Mist filters compare to these Cineblooms, here's the rundown on Moment versus Polar Pro. The 20? Well, the 20 is pretty crazy.